Hi, Michelle.
Hi, I'm laughing because I keep waiting for that little red light to go on that you're live, and I'm sort of doing my.
Here we are. We're
How are you,
live.
Mel?
Oh,
Yeah, we
I'm
are.
doing
We are.
I'm doing well. It's so nice to see you, and I'm glad to hear that, things are slowly probably starting to open back up in Australia, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, for those folks who haven't seen us chat before, you'll know that Mel is in Wisconsin, and I'm here in Victoria in Australia. And at my beautiful hometown now, Melbourne has hit the record as the most locked down city in the world. So 267 days today, I think, but Thursday night we come out. So yeah, there's a lot of really happy people, and there's a lot of people like me who are a little bit jittery about what that means. So, but anyway, it's yeah, things. I feel like we're getting towards that. We're coasting down the wave now. I hope, Mel.
I hope so
Mm,
too, for sure.
mm, mm.
And
Okay.
life and work continues on, and we are still, of course, very active in what we're doing inside a career that soars. Could you tell us about what's coming up next? Tell us about a course that's coming up.
Well, there are two, and everyone knows about my Get Shit Done boot camp. So I think we've talked a lot about Get Shit Done. So I'm not going to talk about that today. I'm going to talk about our other leadership course, Your Mantle of Leadership, 6 weeks to Stronger Leadership. And that starts at the end of this month, the end of October. And it's a really well, it's 6 weeks, and so it'll be a nice one to cruise on out to the end of the year and help. I know help gain some clarity around gain skills and gain clarity and start planning. But yeah, it's our signature leadership course in a career that soars, because it covers all of the aspects that Susan writes about in her book, No Ceiling, No Walls, and really gives our women participants some very nice practical ways to work through that over the 6 weeks with me.
Yeah. And so if you are a new listener, one of the foundational pieces that Michelle is talking about here is the definition of leadership from No Ceiling, No Walls by Susan Colantuno. And that definition is leadership is using the greatness in you to achieve and sustain extraordinary outcomes by engaging the greatness in others. So that's a three-part definition, three pillars. Michelle, I wonder if you could just expound a little more on why these components are important in this context of donning your mantle of leadership.
Yeah, so there's some I guess some real fundamentals around leadership. And number one, and the first thing, and certainly the first part of it, the stuff that we work through, is your identity as a leader. And often we wait to be appointed or anointed as a leader in organisations, whether it's a role title, a promotion, whatever it may be. And what we talk about and what we learn together is that leadership manifests itself at every level in every organisation. It is different, but it manifests itself. And the second thing is we want you to have that internal identity shift to say confidently and in a really self-assured way, I am a leader. And the third thing is to realize that every single day you can put on your mantle of leadership. And the mantle of leadership is the story that I tell at the start. What is it? So if you think about when a monarch is crowned, or when a monarch goes to their coronation, they are given a crown. They are given the staff or the scepter, and they're given their mantle. So that big beautiful furry coat that I've always lusted after, to be honest. Even though I love animals and I wouldn't wear fur, but yeah. So they put on their mantle, and that mantle signifies I am now the monarch of this, wherever they are. And leadership's like that. We want you to be able to say, I can put on my mantle of leadership every day. What is that? But what does it mean for me? And what are the behaviours that I need to both feel? So this is very much about the intrinsic as well as the extrinsic markers of leadership, but also what are the skills? So we cover that identity piece to start off with. It's a really nice way of sometimes, having that shift, and I always quote you at the start of my YML courses, Mel, which, because you've got this brilliant piece of advice, which is moving up begins in your own mind first, and it's that mindset shift that has to occur. And then we work through the other three parts of the definition. So your personal greatness, that's that first part. We talk about achieving and sustaining extraordinary outcomes, including and using the language of power, which is the language of business. So extraordinary outcomes, business, strategic and financial acumen. And then we work through engaging the greatness in others. And certainly for me, as someone who helps organisations build and implement their diversity and inclusion strategies, that's a really important part for me, because that is fundamental to effective DEI programs. And then, of course, throughout all of it, we've got a whole bunch of women who are learning about each other, and they work together every week with me, facilitating on challenging each other and doing peer-to-peer mentoring and coaching and problem solving and opportunity, looking at opportunities. So I really enjoy it, but self-praise is no praise at all. But we've had some really lovely feedback, including women saying to me and to you, I now have the language. I've got the language to be able to hold people's attention. I know what it is that I need to do in my organisation. I know what my positional purpose is, which is, what does the CEO pay me to do around here? So yeah, it's a really nice leadership course for those who perhaps haven't had the opportunity to participate in formal leadership development before, or for those of us who might need a bit of a brush up, or new to leadership roles, or aspiring to leadership roles. So it covers a lot of territory, and it covers a lot of women's needs. And I think, and I'm rattling on a bit here, Mel, but the wonderful thing about it is that whilst we aim it at new and establishing leaders, I've certainly had women who have been in leadership roles for quite a long time attend your Mantle of Leadership, and they found it to be a great refresher, because I do tailor it. I tailor it to every, there's a diagnostic that we start before the program, and I tailor it to make sure that each weekly meetup is pitched to that woman's career, where she is in her career, what career stage. So yeah, so networking is there as well. Yeah.
I think that what you're describing is important to highlight in terms of, this is a live course with engagement with real humans. This isn't something that's just, popped up videos or whatever. This is something where there's real human interaction, and that's one of the things that helps us learn most. So
yeah, and thanks for reminding me too, Mel, because one of the ways we designed the course was so that it would fit in neatly into women's very full and fulfilling lives. So there's an activity that you can do at your own pace, but every week we've got live sessions together to talk about and discuss the content, and I'm quite literally there as a coach and a mentor to each participant. So you can work at your own pace, and the great thing is, once you join the course, you can come back and reconsume the content or tap into the content at any time. So I'm just going to put a link to the course in our chat feed here, so people can see it and check it out. So yeah, it's a really, I think it's a nice way for leaders at any stage to revisit who am I as a leader? How do I show up as a leader? And we talk about showing up, not just turning up. And what are the new tools that I perhaps need to think about putting in my toolkit to help me move to that next stage of my career?
Right. So, dear listener, your Mantle of Leadership and the Get Shit Done Bootcamp, those are both coming up inside A Career That Soars. You can still squeeze those in before this year ends. And of course, 2022 will be starting again with a handful of different courses that you can look forward to at that time. What else?
Well, I'm really keen to talk about Lead to Soar, the podcast, because we were talking off air before that our episode that dropped last week around office housework, well, bingo, McKinsey, Lean In, and Harvard Business Review all released reports this week, which we didn't know about, but they all released reports about office housework. So I think it's serendipitous, and really encourage our followers to go and listen to our little mini. It's about 14 minutes, this one, I think, that episode about office housework.
Right. Yes. And we'd like to encourage both women and allies out there to take a listen to this. It's important. And
yes.
then sorry, go ahead.
This week. No. And this episode coming up this week.
Yeah. So I want to highlight this week, the episode coming out is a full episode. So it's about an hour long, and it's a conversation between Michelle, Susan Colantuno, and myself. And, I learned so much being a part of that discussion. So give us like a little nugget, Michelle, about executive presence.
Well, so I guess the nugget I would say would be, think about the feedback. If you're a woman in business, I'm just putting the link to Lead to Soar in our chat. If you're a woman in business, think about the career advice and the feedback that you've been given over the course of your career. Some of that will be, you should raise your profile and get some executive presence or some charisma or whatever it may be. And of course, a lot of that advice it could be more useful by defining what executive presence is. And I can tell you right now, it's not your hair, it's not your makeup, it's not what you're wearing. It's the ability to grab someone's attention, the right others' attention, and hold it, because you know what to say, you know how to say it, and you know why you're saying it. So very, very important lessons in there. And like you, Susan, and I do quite a lot, Mel, we debunk perhaps the myths or some of or highlight how some of the conventional advice given to women is incomplete. It's not wrong, it's simply incomplete, because it doesn't go that last mile to say, this is why this is so important. This is why this is so important to your career. Yeah. So it's not about what you wear.
Right. So, dear listeners, you'll want to check that out. It's such a fantastic free resource to come and listen to the podcast. Lead to Soar. You can find it on all of the major platforms or at leadtosoar.com. And, that should also give you a taste of the kinds of things that we teach and are foundational to what we're doing inside a career that soars. So I hope it convinces you to come inside and check it out.
Well, and I would say unashamedly, and Cara, who works with us on our social media and marketing, Mel, she made a really good point to me a few weeks ago. She said, Michelle, you guys are coaches. This is, if you're going to go and pay for an executive coach, and I'm not dissing executive coaches because I used to be one, but if you're going to invest thousands of dollars in an executive coach, why not invest $145 US to join a career that soars and get, there's 5 of us now in terms of the hosts of the platform, but there are literally thousands of women there who are going to be your executive coaches and peer mentors. So it's a great coaching and mentoring platform.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Michelle, for the update on your mantle of leadership coming up. And
Pleasure.
we hope to see you inside a career that soars, and we hope you'll take a listen to the podcast, Lead to Soar.
Cool. Thanks, Mel. See you, everyone.
All right. Bye.
Bye.